Remember Guyana is a channel that covers the history, current issues, and developments in Guyana. So if you find this video interesting, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. Today we're going to talk about the history and evolution of the Kingston Seawall in Georgetown, Guyana. The Kingston Seawall is a 280-mile massive slab of concrete that runs along much of Guyana's coastline and protects its inhabitants from the roaring Atlantic Ocean. This is considered as Guyana's oldest concrete sea defense structure, as it was completed in 1860. But what existed before the Kingston Seawall was built? This wall was not the first attempt of building a permanent sea defense structure, but was the first to withstand the strength of the sea. The battle for Guyana's coastline is a continuous fight between the sea and the men and women who occupy lands located along the low coastal plains. Before the building of masonry seawalls were mastered, our dams acted as barriers to keep the sea at bay. In 1792, historians believed that two plantations, Kerfield and Sandy Point, which existed north of the present seawall and near the Kitty area, were lost to the sea and completely washed away by 1804. Also in 1849, there was a breach along the front dam in the community of Plaisance, which left it under a few feet of water for many days. The residents pressed Governor Hinks to have the sea defense rectified, since the water left the community inhabitable for a brief period. In 1855, the Great Kingston Flood took place when the sea dam was breached. The sea rose violently during the spring season and swept away most of what was in its path. Flooding was far and wide and left most areas from Kingston to Plantation Ogle under at least 1.5 meters or 5 feet of water, and even threatened the structural integrity of the lighthouse. Now let's talk about the construction of the seawall. The first attempt of constructing a permanent masonry wall to keep out the sea occurred after Mr. Benjamin Stout Bailey advocated for a proper wall to be built. The seawall between Fort William Frederick and the Roundhouse started in 1858 and was built by Baron Horace Sicamo. The seawall was built principally by convict labor with granite from the penal settlement at Mazaroni, now the Mazaroni prison. The first section was completed by 1860, which ran from Fort Groin to the Roundhouse. It then continued from Camp Street to Kitty in 1874, and by 1882, the seawall extended to as far as Unity Village. It was completed in 1892. Now, what is Fort William Frederick? Fort William Frederick was built by the Dutch before the British took over in 1812. This old fort was the principal military installation in Georgetown. It was located on the right bank of the Demerara and Seawalls, which was used to mount 21 muzzle-loading guns for saluting purposes. The fort has now been lost to development as the Transport and Harbors Department is now located there. Now, what is the Roundhouse? The Roundhouse is located on the seawall at Kingston in Georgetown. It stands on the site of what was once Camp House, which was the residence for the colony's governor. The site was described as the first lookout point where Demerara became the main trading area and is the beginning of the seawall we know today. It was built in the 19th century and is believed to have been used as an observation point for incoming ships to Georgetown. In recent decades, the Roundhouse had earned a negative reputation for some time, since it had become home to vagrants as well as an ambush point for thieves. The Roundhouse was repaired in 1995 after the Department of Culture began its Roundhouse project, which sought to declare that area a historical site for several reasons, including that it is considered the oldest section of Georgetown and has the oldest architecture in the city. The Roundhouse was further rehabilitated by the Ministry of Public Works, which was completed in 2023 as part of the National Beautification Project. One cannot speak about the construction of the seawall without mentioning one of the prominent attractions and landmarks when visiting the Kingston seawall, which is the bandstand. The bandstand is located on the Kingston Seawall Road. The structure was built in 1903 as a memorial to Queen Victoria, who died on January 22, 1901. This recreational structure is one of three bandstands in the city of Georgetown, which was built with cast iron decorative ornaments. It was a social hub for musical events and orchestra, whereby theatrical groups and bands, most notably the Guyana Police Force Musical Band, would perform for passers-by. While the main purpose of the seawall is to defend the coastline from intrusions by the sea, it has evolved as a symbol for connecting people from all walks of life. Consequently, over the years, the practice of littering has plagued the seawall area, especially after social events. To combat this, a number of cleanup initiatives were organized by various stakeholders in an effort to promote and maintain the seawall and the surrounding areas as a litter-free zone. In 2021, a national beautification project was launched by the First Lady of Guyana. It was a more transformative initiative to revitalize Guyana's public spaces and reflect the nation's growing potential. One of the most celebrated successes of the project has been the complete rehabilitation of the Kingston Seawall Esplanade, which was commissioned on September 15, 2023. This iconic space has been transformed into a bustling hotspot for families and tourists. The seawall now offers a vibrant culinary experience where local vendors cater to visitors, creating a space that is not only visually appealing but also economically beneficial for small businesses. Now, what can we say is happening at the seawall today? The seawall has always had and continues to have a very significant impact on our culture and social preferences as Guyanese. It is still one of the most popular hangout spots in Georgetown. It has become a favorite place for afternoon walks, hangouts, and even exercising. The variety of attractions is enough to keep one interestingly entertained. This is true if one takes a stroll any Sunday evening along the seawall and notice the hive of activities, starting with the more family-oriented activities between the Roundhouse and Camp Street, with the activities becoming less suitable for children as you pass Camp Street and head towards Victorian Road. A staple in Guyana is kite flying, particularly on Easter Monday. The Kingston Seawall has always been a preferred destination to enjoy this social activity. This is yet another indication of why, after 165 years, the Kingston Seawall is not just a critical part of the coastline sea defense infrastructure, but also a commercial and social hub that is unquestionably a part of Guyana's heritage. So, as you take a moment now to reflect on the history and evolution of the Kingston Seawall over the decades, on your next visit, always remember to listen to the sound of the rolling waves as they splash on the walls. Always remember to feel the cool breeze on your skin as such an invigorating experience. Always remember to observe the sunset while birds fly home from a hard day with ships patrolling the Atlantic in the distance, as we strive to always remember the Kingston Seawall in Georgetown, Guyana. Now, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that I can continue to post more interesting videos on the history of Guyana. Drop a comment to let me know what you think about the video or your ideas on what you want to see next. If you have any archived pictures or clip you wish for me to do a video on, please send them to rememberguyana@gmail.com. I will drop a video every Saturday, so tune in next Saturday for the next video. Thank you for watching.